Hey everybody, Lee Odess here with the Access Control Executive Brief. Wanted to dig a little bit deeper into Brief 84, which was about the top 25 trends in access control. Plus, I had another 10 that I'd like to keep an eye on, and I gave a word of the year. So I thought what I would do is I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into exactly what I meant on those. But before I dive in, let's do this. So, reason behind why I do this is I'm often asked make yearly predictions, but I try to avoid those because I find it to be frankly better. And like I did last year, a lot of these things are not necessarily trends, they're themes. And frankly, they're inevitable trends, if anything. And I find them to be more honest and actionable for everybody in the marketplace. I focus on these five. I think I did 10 last year. I broke it down into five this year and then 10 that I'm really just trying to think about. So the process typically starts around October, and I start getting a little bit anxious with the idea that I know that I need to do something around the October timeframe. And I start this process where I typically are on a long flight or a long run. And I spend a good amount of time alone just thinking about, hey, what are some ideas or things that are interesting, untethered to any score or hierarchy, and where I can just spend a good amount of time just beating them up. And, or maybe they've been eating at me, whatever it might be. So I then jot them down, and then I start having questions like, are they relevant? Is the moment now, or is it an overall thing that I think is going to happen in the coming months? Is it noticeable, interesting, different? Are you going to make people think about it? And then usually I delete 90% of whatever comes out. And I try to make these things digestible and actionable instead of just being like a running list that come through. Because I think in order for these things to be interesting and useful, I think you need to be able to drop them into something and use them on that end. Then typically what happens is I get somewhat fired up. I get excited about a handful of them. I find like a quiet space and I start writing, usually again back on an airplane. But sometimes it's like a Friday or whatever it might be where I just can do it. And then from there, I have conversations with people about it. I'll have meetings, I'll have calls, and I'll just start maybe even posting on LinkedIn within Slack and just start to ideate and see if these things are real. So with that, after doing that type of process for this one, and it seems to be a thing that happens every single year, I came up with the following. So I think that there's going to be capital market dynamics. I think there's going to be industry consolidation. We're going to see the evolution of the platform and system integration. We're going to see renewed SMB market focus and the rise of B2B players. Now, those were the five quick. So let's jump into those a little bit more so you can understand them. So the first one is this capital markets dynamics in the security industry. If I was to break it down into three things, and I did this for all of them, that are key drivers, market factors, and success factors, I think what's happening now that you're seeing is the sort of heightened public safety concerns. When I'm recording this, it's January 2nd. If you take a look at what just happened in New Orleans and in Las Vegas around New Year's, there's this heightened public safety concern that even goes beyond what happened in Amsterdam. So it's not even just a North American thing, it's a global thing that happens. You saw it happen in the German Christmas markets and the rest of it. This public safety concern. There's even that report that came up by Gallup that said for the first time in many years, people are starting to feel less safe. The other one's New York City, where you had the CEO shot as well. It's just, there's a lot going on. And this public safety concerns, I think, are triggering people to pay more attention to our industry, even people that are outside of it. And that's where I believe you start to see markets in the capital markets are going to see these as opportunity because they know investment's going to go into it because safety and security, a human right, perceived by a lot of people, and that makes it a very ripe market, as well as it's a very complicated one where I think they see this opportunity to invest $1 and get X amount out of it, depending on who they are, when they're doing it, whatever it might be. So heightened public safety concerns. Then you have our industry moving from hardware to software transformation, and that's typically a time and a place where external markets like to spend time within an industry because it's going through a transformation. That transformation typically creates opportunity. It's a good place for investment to go in. And there's a growing investor interest in digital transformation overall. Investors have made money over the years investing in digital transformation in different verticals, whether it's HVAC, even outside of that, you go into the medical, like anywhere. There, it's basically very understood now that investments go in where there's a digital transformation, change is happening, a lot of churn, and all of a sudden, what is people go and make money. So money follows. So those are key drivers. Market factors that you have is that, frankly, our industry is a resilient one during economic and uncertainty. There's a couple thought leaders in our industry that talk about this. One in particular, Steve Van Til, talks about there's no like hockey stick in our industry typically. It's very, very steady. Markets go up, markets go down. There's turmoil in the economy, whatever it might be, but our industry was resilient during economic times, and you can understand or actually make the case that we actually increase with bad things that happen, which is, not always good, but it is the nature of our industry. There's also a bunch of technological advancements that are happening, whether it's mobile, cloud, or the new one being AI. Those things are also creating change, creating opportunity. People see opportunity to digitize, put money in. There's also this idea around mobile that as investments or as people start to use these products more and engage with our industry, there's other things that open up with operational efficiencies, revenue generation, and there's just frankly a transformation happening there as well. Then you have an evolution toward integrated platforms. So we've had a lot of isolated and decentralized systems. That was always seen as a factor, that was a positive. It's now that feature is now a bug. So you're seeing this evolution of integrating these platforms, whether they're actually people that sit on top, it's middleware that is creating the integration that's happening, or actually people building systems that are their own siloed systems that have different parts and pieces like video and access and visitor and whatnot together, while also being able to do best in class. So you have this churn and change that's happening in how people integrate or work with our systems, and that is creating some market factors. Now, the success factors are successful hardware to software transitions is definitely why you're seeing the capital markets happen. And this is just a proven fact that this is when opportunity returns results. We've got strong fundamentals and we have the adaptability to market conditions. So you're going to have to see people transition from hardware to software. We're seeing it already. You're going to have to see people have strong fundamentals. We are an industry that does that. Now, growth increases, yes, but still great fundamentals. You're also going to need to have adaptability to market conditions. I would say our industry hasn't really had to adapt very much. It's been somewhat, mundane and a constant in the direction of what it's been going. But now we're going to have to start to see people adapt better to what the market. So that is the capital market dynamic. That is the top trend that I think is going to happen. Money flowing into the marketplace. It's going to cause change. It's going to cause a reaction from our industry. It's also going to grow it. And it's all around, in my opinion, a good thing. It's also going to fundamentally threaten old truths of our industry. So number two is this, and this kind of is attached to it. You have an industry consolidation and market evolution. Again, if I was to use these key factors, you have an industry that's mature in a competitive landscape that is evolving. So we're very fragmented. And because we're very fragmented and because we're mature, you're seeing people combine and take money with this idea that if I take X amount of dollars, bring a bunch of companies together, I can get some efficiencies out of those and frankly, not have 17 different finance departments and whatever it might be. So because of that, you're going to start to see companies consolidate and come together, money come in, people believe I can put $1 in, I can get $10 out, as well as there's really not a ton of brand recognition that's happening. So even in a mature market that we have, I just think there's an opportunity to drive some money into it to be able to make people aware of the different competitive landscape that might be there of someone who can solve the needs of what they have. There's also a need for market presence, and this is what I'm talking about. So now you have this idea that, hey, mainstream market opportunity, need a mainstream player. Some of the names that people do know, I also don't think that they're organized well. They don't invest heavily in marketing, so it leaves an opportunity for people to do that. And then, like I said, it speaks to some of the operational efficiency side. So those are key drivers. The third key driver, strategic positioning for public offerings. By getting big, gives us opportunity to go public, and people like that in the marketplace. It's always been a vehicle of wealth and opportunity for raising capital, if you would, to be able to even grow bigger. So you're going to start to see, I believe, this ability that if I consolidate the companies within our space, especially the handful of billion-dollar ones that may exist, or multiples of hundreds of $1 million that do exist, bring them together. They have the ability to look very attractive to the public markets. We're also starting to see, frankly, you're seeing a market evolution of some of these scale-ups that are in our industry that are inevitably going to go public. Some market factors. Large companies will start to acquire small, innovative firms. I think it's a combination of the need to show the marketplace that you have innovation as a large company. There's also, frankly, innovative companies that are going to have a hard time operating because they need money. So bring the two of them together. There's a good outcome opportunity. It could be an acquisition based off of resources. It could be a technical one, whatever it might be. I think it's good and healthy. There'll be a focus on expanding technological capabilities, like I said. So, frankly, these companies are going to need this stuff in order to be able to be up to speed and being able to deliver the value that the market's looking for, especially since 30-year-old companies weren't built for today and tomorrow needs. You can slap on some of these companies that have existed, like an OpenPath did with Motorola. And frankly, there's a lot of examples of those in our marketplace. And then you'll see multiple companies preparing for the IPOs that we talked about. Those are market factors that are just going to drive this consolidation. Success factors, strategic asset combination for optimal valuations. There's a strong market positioning through M&A that's happening. Coming off the Security Investor Conference, that was shown that is big. IPOs not as much, but I do think those are going to change, but definitely a healthy M&A. And then there's the ability to achieve scale in a competitive environment by bulking up, getting bigger, coming together in order to take advantage of it. So first one was capital market dynamics. Second one was industry consolidation and market evolution. The third one is platform evolution and system integration. So top trend number 3 out of 5. The key driver here from the platform evolution and system integration is the end users demanding integrated solutions. A lot of them aren't going to be looking for these individual expensive services when actually, frankly, combine them together. Peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and chocolate, whatever you like to use. That is going to create a much better and cost-effective solution for the customer. There's an increasing adoption of software solutions. Again, we've been a hardware-driven industry. Now, where software has been a feature of a larger value proposition, now it is the value proposition. So this idea that you combine all of these things together and people are searching for increased adoption around these software solutions, and it creates an area where people will start to want to be that platform for people. And frankly, there's this need to address legacy systems and challenges because these systems were primarily hardware driven, primarily don't have the ability to look like a platform. You're seeing software solutions come out to the marketplace that sit on top of those systems, and they combine a bunch of things together. And in doing so, it's creating that, what we were calling, frankly, a platform on that end. So market factors, you have the emergence of comprehensive security platforms, whether it's GSOCs plus PIM plus PACS plus you name it, those things coming together. There's a focus on a unified user experience that's needed. Thank you all very much for taking the time to listen to the top 10 trends of 2025. This is the free version for non-members. If you'd like to hear the rest of this and even more content and more information, please take the time to sign up and become a member. We'd love to have you. If you don't become a member, that's okay too. We love having you in the LinkedIn community and seeing you in person as well. So we'll have more of these coming out to the marketplace, and we're happy to have you. So thank you very much.